I know! Fuck! Okay, let's stop. Hit it, killer!
Hit it, killer! Welcome back to the Darin Show! And with that, we go right into Juliette and the Licks. This is an album called Four on the Floor. As you can see, I've got the little, kind of the digital pack thing, no jewel case. Comes with a little booklet here. This is actually mine. This is not a live, you know, if you watch my channel very often or at all, you'll hear me say that I get all my stuff at the library. New stuff, but stuff that I've had from before, of course. I got the real stuff. You might know Juliette Lewis, the actress. Strangely enough, I think the first thing I ever saw her in was like the Vacation movie. She played Audrey, the daughter, with Chevy Chase. California, spelled with a K, with Brad Pitt. Oh, Natural Born Killers with Woody Harrelson. I loved that. Well, that's another video, a story about seeing that movie when it was live in theaters and people were getting up and walking out. But anyway, so Juliette Lewis, the actress, famous as an actress, she is out with a friend of hers who happens to be the drummer for Courtney Love's band Hole, Patty Schemmel. They go to a Blondie concert, and apparently Juliette is inspired, and she goes, man, I want to start a band. And so they get a couple of guys who I guess were studio musicians actually, and they put together this Juliette and the Licks, released a 4-song EP, and then another album. So just before they decided to do this album, Paul, the bass guitarist, and Jason, the drummer, decided that they didn't want to go on tour anymore, and they wanted to just stay in the studio and do studio-based work, studio musicians. And if you can get that gig, sure, you know, who wants to go out on tour and travel around different place, and you know, when you can just go in a studio and play guitar or drums or something like that. So anyway, they left the band. So she's getting ready to make this album, Four on the Floor, and has no drummer, no bass player. So she finds a bass player, brings that guy in, and then guess who she gets to sit on the drums? Dave Grohl. Nirvana, Foo Fighters, Dave Grohl. So the first time I listened to this album, I guess I really didn't know that or remember it or whatever. And whew, it is good. I'd probably listen to an album of just Dave playing drums. So throw in some guitar and some good vocals and stuff. I'm sold. So this album was originally released in October of 2006 in the UK, and they also released a bonus DVD with documentaries, live performances, and music videos. You can go on YouTube, here where you already are, and find a documentary about the making of this album, so that's pretty cool. I love stuff like that to accompany an album. You can even have the album playing in the background, you know. This album was released in July of 2007 in the United States and added the 2 bonus tracks. So Dave Grohl on drums, no wonder I loved it right off the bat. The first song, Smash and Grab, I'm like, oh my God, this is like boom, boom. And Hot Kiss, Sticky Honey, Purgatory Blues, Death of a Whore, Killer, Get Up, Mind Full of Daggers, Bullshit King, Inside the Cage, and then completely out of what seems like the theme if you go through all of those songs, the last song listed is Are You Happy? Bullshit King, Killer, Death of a Whore, Purgatory Blues. Are you happy? But it's funny because Are You Happy is actually kind of a bonus track. This is, when the album first came out, apparently, there were a couple of songs that weren't on here. It ended with Inside the Cage, which is the 10th track. And actually it even shows on inside here, Inside the Cage is the last song listed. So it's interesting that Are You Happy is listed on here because there are 2 bonus songs on this release. And this is the other thing too. The 2 bonus songs at the end, started to review this, I thought, how am I going to describe this? It's straight ahead rock and roll, boom, boom, boom. And I was thinking as I was re-listening to it in preparation for this, I was like, wow, there's not a slow song. There are no ballads, you know. And then, of course, it get to the end and Are You Happy is a slow down. So both of the bonus tracks, I can tell why they weren't on the original release of the album. They're completely different. But rock out all the way through track 10, I guess, and then last two songs you can kind of mellow down. Juliette and the Licks, 4 on the Floor. Let's give a listen to a couple of songs here. This is Hot Kiss. This was actually released as one of the singles off of 4 on the Floor. I like it. It's track 2, but my favorite track is actually track 1, Smash and Grab, which was not released as a single. Go figure that. Now, interestingly enough, this is actually the last album by Juliette and the Licks. This is from 2007, and it was only their second full-length album. If you look for them, there has not been another album released, and when you go on Wikipedia, it says that they got back together, I think around 2015. Juliette was again inspired. She was working with the guy from Cage the Elephant on some music and was in one of their videos or whatever, and she said, man, I want to get my band back together, and I need to get the best version of my band back together. So they apparently got together, and they did a reunion show, and said they were working on an album, and that was in 2016, that they were in the studio working on an album. So that apparently didn't happen, because no album has been released, unless it's just something that they sell themselves out of the back of the trunk of the car at the swap and shop on Sunday, because it's not anywhere that I can find. Now, Juliette Lewis herself would actually go on to release a solo album in 2009 called Terra Incognita, and because she was basically like, people were like, oh, did you fire all your band? Well, no. 2 of the guys went off and did something else. Another guy went back to a different band, and Dave Grohl had just been drumming temporarily. So she just decided to just do her own thing and record an album of her own. But even though that was 2009, so even though it was mentioned that she was going to get the band back together in 2015 and record another album, of course, that as of 2025 here, September, that has not happened. So, but if you're looking for some straight ahead, good, hard guitar, rock and roll, from 2007, Juliette and the Licks, I really like this. This isn't a record for me. I know that I seem to rate a lot of things really highly, and I like a little bit of everything, but it is what it is, you know. So if you don't like something that I recommend, guess what? You're not me. but I hope you at least give it a shot. Juliette and the Licks, 4 on the Floor, Smash and Grab, and all the other stuff. You can check out other stuff. They've got the EP, another album. Juliette's got the solo record, Terra Incognita from 2009, and of course all the Juliette Lewis movies. But give this one a high rating, 5 out of 5. A, whatever your rating system is, put it at the top. Thank you for watching, everybody. Have a great one. Have you? The Darin Show, soon to be a major motion picture.